I'm Will,
And I'm Chelsea,
and we are
the
the
Evans.
Evans.
Today we're giving you guys some couples content. Obviously, we are not licensed therapists and in no shape or form professionals, but we want to give you guys some content based on our experiences and our journey.
So, without further ado, let's get into the content of the day.
Let's do it. All right, so today's episode, we want to discuss love, of course. We speak a lot about relationships, but we don't speak specifically on how to love somebody. So we know that there's 5 love languages. We want to go over all 5 today and kind of just give you guys our opinion on how we think you should apply those love languages to your relationship to have a successful outcome.
Right. So, the love languages that we're going to discuss today are physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, and receiving gifts and giving gifts. Right.
Absolutely.
So, let's get started with the first love language that we have, and it is.
Physical touch.
Yeah.
I want to start by saying we do, and we said this before, we both agree that like all love languages matter in a relationship. I think that you should give a certain level of all
Yes.
in each of one of these relationships. Blah, 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 in each of one of these languages, but we will start with physical touch and how we think that that should be applied because I know everybody requires a little bit more of one than the other.
And in
So,
any relationship, I do believe, as well as Babe believes, that you have to give all those languages, like she said. And some people want one more than others, but it is important that you practice all of them to have the most healthy and most, positive relationship and get the most out of the relationship, in our opinion.
yeah.
Because we practice all of them, right, baby?
Yes, we do. And have those conversations with your significant other and see what, don't try to figure out or try to guess because your love language might be physical touch, but your partner's really love language may be quality time and
Yeah. Or they may need something different in that moment. Sometimes your partner may need physical touch when you think they need words of affirmation. And you have to kind of be flexible and kind of be watching and aware of your partner because there's times that, especially I see with this a lot with men, they think that, well, I'm just going to buy her a gift. I'm going to buy her some flowers. And, a lot of times that's not what the woman needs at that moment. I think like, oh, I bought her flowers. I don't know why she's still tripping. Well, she wanted to spend some time with you today,
yeah, very
and
good point.
so I think you have to be a little bit more attentive and aware of what's needed in the specific moment. But yeah, I think that it's important that you keep that awareness so you can give what's needed in that specific instance, right?
Absolutely. So let's get into physical touch. There's so many different ways. Obviously, physical touch can be applied to your partner. Obviously, we have intimacy, we have a kiss on the forehead,
Yeah.
we have a pat on the back, a hug. So there's so many different ways to get physical touch. I believe again, like Babe said, it's all about the timing and knowing when. A lot of people do struggle with not wanting what they call it. What is it? PDA.
Public display of affection. Yes.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't like that. So, just because I like to be touched and kissed and have you wrap your hands around my waist, at home while I'm cooking doesn't mean that, like, if we're out at the movies and I'm standing in line, I want you, like, hugged up on me and stuff like that. So it's just always know the time and the place to give these acts as well.
Yeah, I think that and if you're like men, if I know for men sometimes we don't like that, like the physical touch in public, like all right, babe, all right. I think there needs to be a compromise in that sense too. Sometimes you need to let the other person express love the way they like to express love and receive love the way they like to receive love, and don't get so caught up on what you want because relationships are about service. It's about what can I give and what can I take, in a sense. So like it's a give and take, it's a push and pull. So I think that there are times that maybe I don't want a certain love language, but I know that she's loving me in that way, and this is her way of showing love. So even though I'm not specifically needing maybe physical touch at the moment, I know her way of showing love may be physical touch in this moment, and you still have to give your partner credit for that thing. Like she is showing love. She's not loving me, if that makes sense. Just because I don't want it in that way in this moment, she's still showing love, and you have to give your partner credit for when they are trying to show love and things like that. So physical touch is a big one. I think that's the most important in a relationship, personally, to me. How do you
Yeah.
feel, man?
I believe that it is about compromise. Not all the time does somebody want to be touched. And a lot of people have personal space boundaries, or they're just like not having a good day and you don't want to be touched. And there has to be a compromise, because if it's coming out of a genuine place, then I do feel like, accept the love or give the love and however you would want to receive it in that moment. So And a lot of it, like I spoke on, was intimacy. So intimacy does not have to always be sexual intimacy. It
Yeah.
could be a lot of like just cuddling or even like a gentle foreplay before intimacy and not having it as far as it goes. Obviously, we all love sexual intimacy. That's like, of course. But we want to like also, as a woman, I know personally, I like to feel that we can have intimacy without it always having to go that far, or just jumping the gun and getting straight to the sexual part of it, where it's like, oh, I want to feel loved, I want to feel touched, I want to feel soft, I want to feel
Yeah.
like I'm being cared for and caressed rather than touched.
Yeah.
So
And men, we don't admit it, but we like the same things just as much as women probably. Like men like when their woman rubs the back of their head, or when your woman comes by and just softly touches you and gives you that feminine softness that you need in that moment. Even if men don't react, you'll hear a lot of husbands. I've heard a lot of husbands speak about like, I just want my wife to just do the touchy feely thing and just give me more touchy feely. So I think that's important to men and women alike. I think men don't always display it. But I think it's important. Like, and you're right. It doesn't always have to be sexual intimacy. It could be I walk by and I just rub your shoulder, rub your shoulder and just walk by, or sitting next to each other watching TV and I just rub your knee, just to
Yeah.
let you know I'm here and let you know I see you and I feel you and I'm giving you some type of physical affection and physical touch that you need, and just transferring energy of love to each other. Sometimes that's needed. Sometimes your partner may just need a hug, and that hug is better than sex sometimes, because you're like, man, I really needed that hug. I don't really need sex in this moment. I need a hug. So I think all those things are important. And you spoke about the public display of affection. You want to get a little bit more into that, baby?
yeah, so I know that some people are into public, display of affection. As far as like, I think there's gentle ways to go about it too. It doesn't always have to be, you sticking your tongue down my throat
Yeah.
at the grocery store. But holding hands, or sometimes when we're out, like I like to like just kind of like hold on to his arm as we walk somewhere. Or he might have his hand on my waist as we're walking somewhere. So it doesn't have to be like an inappropriate display of affection. You know what I mean?
You remember when we were walking the other day, and I was like, "This is how you turn your wife on without doing anything sexual."
Oh
And
yeah,
I just put my hand on her lower back as we were walking,
it
and
did
it made
though,
us laugh.
because physical touch is a way of like almost acknowledging somebody without words.
Yeah.
So I think and it feels good. It's kind of like he sees me, or you know what I mean. He can
Yeah.
give me that little swipe across my butt, and like I know like
Yeah.
that's him saying like your booty looks good right now, babe,
Yeah.
without him saying anything.
Not me grabbing it. I don't have to, especially in public. I do it at home, but not me in public. I don't have to grab it and slap her on the butt. I can just give her a nice little,
Yeah, he knows
you
I don't
know.
play that. Don't smack my butt in public. I don't
Yeah.
care how
I wasn't
much
raised
fun we're
to,
having.
but it's not her because of her personally. I just wasn't raised to do that. Like, I was
Yeah.
raised that my mom always taught us, you don't do that. You don't just smack your woman on the butt and just give her a pie-yow in
Yeah.
public. That's how my mom says it, pie-yow. But you just don't do that as a gentleman. And you wouldn't want to do that anyway. There's ways of being physical and having physical touch without it being inappropriate and disrespectful. And it can still be just as sexy. It can still be just as attractive for your partner. But you don't have to always smack your woman on the butt and let her know and let everybody in the room know that this is my woman. Like, no, there's ways of being a gentleman about it. And I'm telling you, as a man from experience, there's nothing a woman loves more than knowing that she can get a full physical experience. I'll say it the PG way, a full physical experience at home. But when you're in public, you respect her as a woman and respect her as a lady, and you don't do all the extras and make her feel uncomfortable or make her feel like other people are looking at her like this guy's having sex with that woman.
Yeah.
And just making that loud statement by smacking her on the butt, or grabbing her inappropriately or touching her inappropriately in front of everybody. You don't want your woman doing you like that.
I'm glad you said that, because that's a big thing. Like, as far as like being in public and showing affection, can like, don't have your woman feeling that, and don't have your man feeling this either, because I've seen it with men and women where they may be intimidated by somebody else in the room. So it's like, immediately let me be all over my partner so that girl over there knows this is my man and you can't have him. So I'm gonna kiss me, babe, kiss me. No, kiss me right now. Like, no, like that's just like, you know what I mean? That's that forced, and that's almost as if you're using your partner. So don't do that. Don't.
Yeah.
If you see men, and if you're intimidated by some man in the room or whatever, don't all of a sudden now you want to grab her ass, or excuse me, but like, you know what I mean? Like doing things like that. Don't go that far. There's a way of doing it. And like I said, if it comes from a genuine place, and there's ways to have appropriate affection in public, because obviously we're in public places, there's kids around, there's cameras around, so there's ways to do it and being soft, gentle, and genuine.
Why don't you give them some of the ways that they can do that? If you're in public and you're a woman, I speak from a woman's perspective, and you see a woman that you may be a little bit intimidated by, she's coming on to your husband or she's flirty with your husband, you're at the work party or wherever you're at, you know, and she's a little bit flirty with your husband, and she's an attractive woman, and you want to show that, hey, this is my husband, this is my man, this is my boyfriend, this is my fiance, whatever it is, but you want to do it, give them a little physical touch. How could they do that? What's some ways that a woman can do that?
In my opinion, I don't get intimidated by women, but if I were to be in this situation specifically, I would probably, like grab his hand, or even just, I typically would just join the conversation and make myself aware and known. But I do believe it's a two-person duo. It's obviously up to my husband's responsibility too to make it known that, hey, I'm with my wife and I don't accept the energy that you're bringing over here. So, yeah.
So you think it has to be a work together? Because some people may say, well, I don't care if you're not intimidated by me. A woman make me feel like, well, she's just as confident as you. So she doesn't care if you're intimidated or not. She's still going to come on to your husband in front of you or your spouse in front of you. How do you deal with that as a woman? Using physical touch, how would you?
Using physical touch, to me, I feel like that's hard because I don't feel like I would use physical touch in that sense, because I don't think that that's going to change anything.
Okay.
And that goes back to me saying that I would feel like, I'm not going to be all over my partner because I'm intimidated by somebody. If I'm grabbing his hand, it's because I want to hold his hand.
Well, I'm saying even if you're not intimidated by this person, right? Like, I'm not intimidated by this woman, but she's not intimidated by me either. But I do want to command some respect in the sense of, this is my man. How do you do that?
I would grab your arm, you know what I mean? Link arms, you know what I mean? And kind of engage in the conversation of whatever's going on. Link arms, maybe, I mean, that's a tough question. I don't know how I would use physical touch in that predicament, but I know that I would just make myself known. And, once you link arms or you hold hands with somebody, it's kind of like saying, like, we're together, we're joined as one. Yeah. And obviously, I leave that fully up to my man to have the respect for not just me, but for himself, to not, entertain any conversation that we feel would be inappropriate. Obviously, not in a rude way, because we're all going to encounter these situations, one way or another, whether it's, like you said, a work party, or you might be even out at a grocery store and you see an old friend or something like that. So it is always both parties' responsibility to make sure that situation is under control. We can't control the situation from happening, but we can be in control of what happens next. Yeah. So I think that's something that two people need to do together.
Yeah, I think as a man and probably as a woman too, you probably just have to be aware of what's going on. You can't be naive to what's going on. You can't be, because I've been guilty of that type of situation where it's like, I didn't even know she was flirting with me. Yeah. And so I think as a man, that's a mistake. You got to know, like, okay, this person is going too far. And as a woman as well, you got to know, okay, this man is going too far and he's trying to do the most. Because other people will do that. They'll try to do the most in front of your partner, So if I see a woman that's trying to do too much in front of my woman, then I know I got to be aware of that. And maybe I have to initiate some physical touch to let her know, hey, this is my woman. I'm with her and I'm here with her. And as well, like you said, grabbing the arm and combining and holding hands and linking together, just showing unity. I think that is a good solution, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's get into the second one. The second one is words of affirmations, right? Everybody likes to hear nice things. Everybody wants to hear good things about themselves. Everybody wants to be picked up when they're down. Everybody wants to smile when they're frowning and having a bad day. So how do you feel about words of affirmation, baby? What do you feel like is the best way to go about words of affirmation, the best timing of it? Give us, what do you think?
So my perspective on words of affirmation is it's very, very important. Not only just for yourself, but for your spouse as well, because affirmations are, something that we practice in self-care and self-love. And I believe that hearing it from somebody as close to you, as such as your partner, is just so much more powerful rather than, hearing it from other people. And I always go back to, in a genuine way, don't say it just because, like, just to say it, because that typically will water it down on the days that you do mean it.
Yeah,
So
that's big.
it is important to share words of affirmation, and it doesn't always have to be like, you are a king today, and I serve you, and
Yeah, that's the
you
social
are,
media
yeah, we
version of it.
that's not always words of affirmation. I tell him it could be the smallest thing. I'm like, baby, you smell good today.
Yeah, yeah.
Babe, I like how your hair looks today. Like, you know what I mean? Or it could be the smallest things, and it could be, or even just like a personality thing. Oh my gosh, babe, like you always make me laugh. Like you're very like I love your humor. Something that it could be characteristics. It
I'll
doesn't
give
have
you
to
a
be
cheat code.
physical.
I'll give a cheat code for you guys. As a man, if you're a woman listening, as a man, some things that you could say as words of affirmation that men love hearing is, "Babe, I would have never figured out how to do that without you." Men love, men
Of
love,
course,
men love being needed, and men love, and women do too, but
yeah,
men love that feeling of I'm teaching something to my household. I'm passing down knowledge. I'm passing down wisdom on how to do something.
I
You
agree.
know, I think
Yeah,
men love that. So a cheat code is something like that. You could say, baby, I appreciate you. I would have never figured that out without you. That's a huge just affirmation that you can give to your partner that will make them feel like, as a man, it'll make them feel like, dang, all right, she loved me because I teach her stuff,
yeah,
you know?
of course.
Or you could say, like Dave said, you smell so good, or, the handsome thing is cool. But when you start getting into details of, babe, I love the way that shirt looks on you, or babe, because men don't get those type of compliments typically. We don't walk in the world. Women get compliments on, oh, girl, I love your shirt. I love your shoes. I love your nails. Men, we don't get that typically. It's normally like, you know, so the I love your smell is a really good one. What do you think of some as a woman that you feel, men should say that really make women feel good?
I think some things that my biggest one, to be honest, is I love when he says he's proud of me. That makes me feel so good. I don't know what it is, but because us as women, we work so hard. Even if you're a stay at home
That's right.
wife, if you are, whatever it is that you do in your everyday life, like us, being a woman is hard. Like, we have a lot to do as far as even just keeping up with just not just our appearance, because that's what helps keep our mans and,
Mhm.
all the other things that we do for him. But it is a lot of things go overlooked. And I love when he says he's proud of me because it makes me feel like he acknowledges the things that I've
I
done.
was just gonna use that word.
Yeah, that he acknowledges the things that I've done throughout the day, because he could just be like, babe, I'm proud of you. Like today
Hmm.
you did your thing. Like, yeah, you like dinner was amazing. The house looks good. Like you look amazing. And
Hmm.
to do that all in one day is just, so my big one is like, I'm proud of you. And I want to say, I, lo- I like when he tells me my skin looks good, but that's just a personal thing
Yeah.
because,
I think the key word that you said there was acknowledgement. I think acknowledgement is the biggest part of affirmations because that's what we're doing. We're acknowledging that we see something and affirming that it's a good thing and that it makes us feel good. And how she says that she likes to hear, "I'm proud of you." I believe that men, and I know that I like a lot when she tells me things like that too. Like what she'll say to me is, "You're doing a great job." And sometimes that feels good because you don't know if you're doing a good job or not. You're kind of just work, home, take care of the kids, and you're ripping and running. And I'm sure that's just a relationship thing in general from either side. But it does feel good to hear, hey, you're doing a great job, and I'm really happy, and you're doing a great job. Keep going. That
yeah.
makes a man want to get up and go harder for his woman. Just hearing those affirmations, that feels really good. So, yeah, I think words of affirmation is a really powerful thing, and if you get mastery of it, man, you can really control the energy in your home, the energy in your relationship, because everybody wants to hear good words.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to feel good.
Words of affirmation. I mean, we do it even with our kids,
Yeah.
like tell your kids good job, or you did great today, or whatever the case may be. But again, always just coming from a genuine place, and don't ever say words of affirmation in hopes, that you're gonna get one right back. So that's
Yeah.
that's not genuine, So don't say, "Oh, babe, you look good today," because you want him to tell you you look good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And vice versa.
Vice
So
versa.
I do believe that it's words of affirmation are very, very powerful, and it's deeper than, again, that you just look good in the outer appearance. Sometimes I have to let him know, like, babe, you're not only a good husband, but you're a good father.
She does say
You're a
that.
good son. You're a good leader. You're all of these things. And Sometimes I do it when like, I do see that like maybe he's a little down or his energy's a little off.
Mm.
But for the most part, like I just do it throughout the day. It could be random as hell. Like I just literally just be like, baby, you look good today.
Yeah.
Or babe, like, you know what I mean? Like randomly, because it takes 2 seconds and it costs me not a freaking dollar. Like I don't care. Like if it's on the top of my mind or it comes to my mind, I'll let it out.
Yeah.
It's something positive and I don't, it can't hurt. So
Yeah. And you got to make sure that you leave words of affirmation as positive things, and make sure that, because words go both ways. You can say negative words and really destroy your relationship and really hurt your relationship just because you're being too critical at times. I think men, we're guilty of that a lot because we're so logical and analytical. I think that we forget that words have a lot of power behind them. And so you have to watch what you say. You can't do too much criticizing. You can't do too much, pointing out the negative things. I think it's a balance in that, of being real with your partner, and being positive. And it's a very thin line between being real and being negative. So I think that it's a learning process to go through, but you have to get to a space where the affirmations are coming out and they're mostly positive. Because you can give a person 10 compliments, and the one criticism won't hurt as bad because you gave 10 compliments this day. But you start getting to a space where it's 5 compliments, 5 criticisms, it starts to feel like everything that you're saying is negative, even if you gave 5 positive words of affirmation. So it goes both ways. You have to really stay in that positive frequency when you're talking about words of affirmation.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's real. That's, if you want, because a lot of people think like, well, what big of a difference could it really make for me to tell my man like, oh, you're good at this, you're this, and X, Y, and Z. But think about how negative comments have such a big impact. It's the
Yes.
same with positive. We just don't give it enough credit. Because think of how much, if your man tells you like, damn, like you could have did better on your hair today, that would crush you.
Yep.
So think of how the negative, how much of an impact that has, and take that and use it in a positive way, because it does work the same.
Yeah, it does. And babe, you have a saying that she says nobody leaves positive reviews when we're like looking at reviews
yeah.
on Google. She like, it's always negative. Like people would run and people are excited to tell you about the bad story that they had, but nobody ever is excited to tell you about the positive story that they had. So, and when you do
It's
see,
rare.
if you look at Google reviews for any businesses or any, like you're going to a restaurant, you look at the reviews. When you see a bunch of positive comments, it makes you excited to go to that restaurant. It makes you feel like, okay, this is something that's worth something, and this is of value. And the same thing it does with negative reviews, negative comments, like, oh, I would never go there, right? So it does the same thing to us personally. It makes a person feel good when they get positive reviews, and it makes a person feel horrible, equally horrible, when they get negative. So I think you got to be careful on both sides of words of affirmation and make sure that you're, affirming your partner in the right way and the positive ways, right, baby?
Yeah. That was a good like comparison. I like that. Comparing of affirmations to Google reviews, because it is true. I agree with that. That was really cool. All right. So next up, acts of service.
She just affirmed me when she said I had a good analogy. Go ahead.
Acts of service. Moving on. I believe. Oh, acts of service are so important.
Oh yeah.
So important. We do acts of service, believe it or not. Again, it goes back to acknowledging, because people do acts of service that you maybe overlook, or this person does it so much for you that it's not special to you anymore. So again, it gets overlooked. So it could be the smallest thing. It could be like, I lay his towel and his night clothes out every night before he gets in the shower.
Yeah, she does.
I do that. If I do that every single night for 10 years,
Yeah.
that act of service, again, it's still quality. And now he's looking for it because now he expects it. But but it can be turned around when you're in a disagreement. It's like, well, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, well, what do you mean? Like every night I do something for you. You know what I mean? So it's always keeping that acknowledgement of these acts of service, because, they're there, but maybe you don't see them, or because they're done so frequently that it can be watered down, but it doesn't water down the meaning behind it.
We have a saying in our relationship, and it's, if you eat lobster too much, it starts to taste like soap. Right? If you eat lobster every single day, even though it's lobster and it's special and it's amazing, and this is lobster, this is the biggest lobster tail, and it's great. If you eat it every single day, it tastes like soap. It doesn't taste like as special as it is. So you have to make sure that you still reminding yourself that this is still lobster. And when you're going through those things and you have those acts of service that do feel like, well, this is just part of the routine, You know, you got to remember that, hey, this is not just part of the routine. It doesn't have to be this way. And, you know, make sure that you're appreciating that your partner in that way. And I've been guilty of it too, like overlooking certain things like, man, like she did do that. Like babe cleans the house every morning. She makes up the bed, you know, and that's like one of the ways that she gives me acts of service. When I come home, I have a clean room. She's made the house very comfortable for me. I can get right in the bed. I messed the whole bed up, even though she just made it up, and she doesn't ever complain about it. You know, and that's an act of service. And it may sound small after 10 years if you with somebody, or 15 years or 30 years if you're with somebody and they make the bed up every single day. It's just like, well, they just made the bed up. But no, that's an act of service because you didn't have to do it, you know? So they did something to serve your partner. And I think relationships are, and service is so important in a relationship. I'm here to be in service to my partner, not a servant, but in service too, right? So I'm not her slave. She's not my slave, but we do serve each other every single day. Baby might, you know, bring me a plate of food and be like, oh, I forgot the drinks. Well, okay, babe, I'll go get the drinks. That's service to each other, you know. I fill her gas tank up with gas. You know, I don't like her to have to go to the gas station. I think that's a huge act of service. Baby, I'm going to do that. Just like the gas station attendant will get out and pump your gas, I get out and pump her gas. You know, that's an act of service. I think those things, when you have a heart to serve, I think it gives you the best relationship in the world, in my opinion, because I'm going into this with, hey, what can I give? You know, not just what can I take. And we talked about that. We always talk about how relationships these days people look at as 50-50. You give me this, I give you that. But in reality, you're going to have to serve your partner, and you have to be comfortable with saying, I serve my partner, and understanding in your heart, I'm here to serve, you know, and that's when you get the most out of your relationship. Do you agree, baby?
I do agree. I think that it's very important, and I do believe that acts of service have so much, like, they have levels to them. So because, like you said, small things as far as like, well, I make the bed every morning, or, you know, he makes sure that there's always gas in my car. Those are, you know, services that, you know, don't go overlooked, but they kind of blend in now with our day-to-day routine. So, it's important, I think, to also like always reevaluate, you know. It's like, well, dang, what have I done for him, like out of the normal?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So today I might be like, you know what? I'm gonna make a special lunch and I'm gonna pull up on him and give it to him. Like that's like me going out of the way, out of my normal routine, because it's easy for me to say like, because it's true. I am a little bit of a neat freak. So, you know, if he leaves the room, like he can get up and go to the bathroom. Like I straighten up the bed. I make you know what I mean? So that every time he leaves the room, he comes back and the room looks better than from when he left. And that's with every single room in the house. That's just how I am. I will be late somewhere, making sure the house is decent. So, but again, that can blend into a normal routine on my day to day. And for me, for even me, it does. I don't think twice. I don't even think of it being an act of service when I lay out his clothes and his towel. It's kind of like I just do it. So going out of your way sometimes to do something special for your partner, act of service, you know, because sometimes he'll do something for me. He might switch the clothes in the laundry, you know what I mean? Or he might, I don't know, like that's not specific, but you know.
Sometimes when she takes the clothes out, I'll see them in the basket. She'll leave the room. She has something else to clean in the house or something else to do before she gets back to fold the clothes. And sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'll fold all my clothes out of it. You don't have to worry about mine, baby.
Yeah, he'll fold a little bit of the clothes.
You know, women's clothes are hard to fold.
Yeah, he's not even gonna think about folding my clothes because it'd be a whole ball.
What is this?
So,
why do you think it's so hard for people? I think that's the hardest love language that people struggle with in general today.
Acts of
in
service?
These times, yeah, because I feel like people just don't want to look like I'm a simp for doing this for my woman, or I'm a pick me because I'm doing this for him. You know, I think that's the hardest thing that people struggle with, or the hardest love language that people struggle with is acts of service because they don't want to look a certain way. Why do you think people struggle with that so much these days?
I think they struggle with that because of pride, and pride is a sin. But I do believe that they struggle with that because of pride. It's like, well, I don't want to feel like a slave. I don't want to feel like I'm just catering to him, or even sometimes the look. Like women, a lot of women, I don't care who you are, you do a lot of stuff for your man behind closed doors, but you wouldn't admit it at lunch with your girls. Like, you know what I mean? Like nobody's going to be like, you know, oh, girl, if your man asks you to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and make him a sandwich, are you going to do it?
Yeah, we see.
And they'd be like, what? Girl, no, I'm asleep. I don't care. No, he can make his own sandwich. But if your man is as good as a man as my man is, I'm making that sandwich. Like, do you want chips with it too, baby? Like, what's up? Like, I'm gonna make sure I do that for him. So I think that
I want to give you more credit than that, baby, though, because I feel like that's just a part of who you are. You know, like I think it's partly having a good man that takes care of you and makes you feel safe and makes you feel comfortable. I think that's part of it. But I think you're a good enough woman that this is just what you do because, I don't think you would pick a man that you wouldn't want to do those type of things for. You know,
absolutely, yeah, that is a good point. I wouldn't be with anybody that would, because
because of
I
the quality of a woman that you are, right?
yeah, and that goes for everybody out there as well. Don't be with nobody that you don't feel is worth doing these things for,
Yeah,
and you shouldn't be a person that your spouse doesn't feel worthy of doing those things for you,
that's
because
real.
that's just, it doesn't matter how much money or how much somebody has or what good of a job they have. It's, is that person worth to you, going out of your way and doing things for, and bringing yourself to, to that level with them. And
Yeah. I think
yeah.
it's the same as a man. Like I think you have to pick the woman the same way. Like pick a woman because when you have a good woman, it's gonna make you like, no, I want to do everything for her, and I don't care what men say on the internet. I don't care what they say on social media. When you have a good woman, you want to cater to your woman because that makes you feel like a man. You don't really know that feeling or what it feels like or how good it feels until you have a good woman. So when you have a good woman, if it's in you to be a good man, it's gonna come out. You know, and I think vice versa. If you're a good woman and you have a good man, it's in you, so it's gonna come out.
Yeah.
So I think it is a lot of pride. I think a lot of people do have pride, and I know I see men a lot publicly, that are like, I would never do this for a woman. I would never. But as soon as they fall in love and they feel like they got a woman that's for them and doing everything that they would, maybe not everything they would like, but doing the things that they feel like are valuable, they go above and beyond for that woman. So I think it is important to just pick the woman and pick the man that you want, like Babe said, to
Because
serve.
if we put it in a different perspective, we could say it like this: it's about who you feel is worth that, right? So, for example, for your man, say whatever man you got, and you're like, "Ugh, I would never like I would never do that for him." Like what? Okay, but if you was laying next to Michael
Somebody
B.
else.
Jordan, and Michael B. Jordan was like, "Get up and make me a sandwich at 3 a.m." Girl,
It might not even be for
like,
Michael B. Jordan though, because you don't know what he is personally behind closed
no, I
doors.
know, but I'm speaking like
Yeah.
for women feeling like, they'll do it for one person but not the other. So
Yeah.
you should be with somebody that you feel like this is my Michael B. Jordan right here, you know what I mean? Like, so you be with somebody that you feel is,
Yeah,
that
work
person
those
for
things.
you.
And for men, if don't be, I think men get so caught up in being used, and especially in these times, there's men that don't have nothing to be used for that get caught up in being used. Like, no,
That's funny.
you don't have nothing that she wants, bro. Like, she's not gonna use you. She can't use you if she wanted to, but they get so caught up in that. I seen this on social media. I seen women like this on social media and women like that on social media, and I don't want to be the man that gets caught up with those type of women. And if that's the case, then you have to get to a space where you trust yourself enough to pick the right woman. And
Absolutely.
I think it's like that with women too, right? Get to a space before getting in a relationship that you trust yourself enough to pick the right person. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times, even people that have been in relationships, they're like, I don't want to serve this person. I don't want to do that because of their past experiences of doing that for the wrong person.
Yeah.
I think women go through that a lot. Men go through it a lot. So yeah, Babe is right. Pick the right person that you feel like is worth doing that. This is my Rihanna. This is my Beyonce. This is, those things for me. So I'm willing to do this X, Y, and Z for her because she's worth that.
Yeah.
And vice versa, right, baby?
Absolutely.
Right. All right, so let's get into quality time. How important do you think quality time is in a relationship? And not just that, let's talk about the love language of quality time and how you express those things and how you make time in the chaotic world that we live in.
I believe quality time is highly important because it's if too much time passes without really, really spending quality time together, you fail to like unlearn that person. Like you start to not really know that person anymore. I mean, think of like, for example, if you have an ex from 2-3 years ago, you're like, that person doesn't know me anymore, So if for 2-3 years you've noticed that you and your husband are not really spending quality time, it's kind of just like a high and by kind of situation, or you guys are just around each other, but you're on your phones or you're watching 2 different TV shows, or he's upstairs, you're downstairs. And you're not spending quality time, because that's exactly what it is. It's like heavy on the quality, because quality is not just spending time, but quality time. And that's, having deep conversations, just speaking about even like just your day. It doesn't have to always be as deep as that, but I do believe it's important. If we go back to like COVID times,
I
how
was
many,
just gonna say that, baby. You read my mind.
yeah, like if we go back to COVID times, how many, the divorce rate was up
Yep.
so high in percentage because these people were forced almost to spend quality time with each
You
other.
are a mind reader. She's saying exactly what I was thinking on
So
my mind.
they were forced to spend this time together, and they realized that they didn't really like each other, or they just maybe fell out of love, or maybe they've grown, maybe not fell out of love, but they just grew apart because now you're a different person than you
And
were when I married you.
I'll say this to that point: it's easy to get somebody and love them in doses, right? So if I only see you 2, 3 hours a day because I work 14 hours a day, it's very easy to feel like we're in a good relationship and a healthy, happy relationship. It's when you guys actually have to spend real quality time together that you realize, like, dang, do I even like this person? You know, and a lot of times I see relationships, and we've seen relationships that it's like, well, yeah, it's easy to like each other because you guys don't really know each other. You don't spend any time with each other. When he's at work, you're at home. When you're at work, he's at home. And, you know, it's like there's no real reason for them to be around each other. But when you have a time like COVID, pandemic time, where you're forced to be around each other, or you'll see a lot when we go on vacations a lot. You know, when you see these couples that they're forced to be around each other for 2, 3 weeks, and they're not having as much fun on vacation as we're having, and we're like, what's wrong with them? Like they're together, we in this country, we should be having fun. You don't see them having fun like we're having fun, you know, and it's because they're not used to being around each other. So when they're forced to be around each other, it's a chore. You know, you
Absolutely.
see that a lot with husbands. Husbands say that, right? Like, oh, I got to go home and be with her. You know,
Yeah, it's sad, low key, because
people
you,
using work as getaways.
yeah, and that's where I think that's where the whole that whole thing of work wife and work husband comes along, because you
Yes.
spend more time at work than you do
Yep.
at home. So you're around this secretary
Mm-hmm.
more than you're around your wife, and you guys are always ha ha he and because you guys don't have any responsibilities that tie you guys together. So it's
Exactly.
always fun between you guys. It's just like, oh, he buys me coffee, I buy him coffee. You
Yep.
know, we take our lunch breaks together, and then it's like, oh, that's my work wife, that's my work husband.
And you getting each other in doses, so it feels like we really like each other.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then you go home to your wife and you're like, oh, because now she's talking to you about, well, this bill just came in, the kids need this,
Yeah.
I gotta do this, and she probably just got her hair tied up in a messy bun 'cause she's been cleaning the house, cooking,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not looking at the fact that she has dinner on the table for you, and
Yep.
she's, you know, everything is taken care of in the house, and just saying like, you know what, because there was a time where me and him specifically, we would be, we have our own outside of the house
Yeah.
table that we would go and we would just have dinner together on some nights. And that would be like our at-home date night, you know, because we can't always get out because of the kids. So, but it was nice. So we would make it intimate. We would light candles,
Mm-hmm.
and we would just have dinner in a different setting, but in an intimate setting. And it wasn't like we're not just eating in front of the TV. We're spending quality time because we're having conversation,
Yep.
and that's important.
Yeah, I think it's really important, and just making sure that you're spending real quality time with each other, even in the relationship stage of it, before you at fiance or marriage, just in the boyfriend girlfriend, because that's when it's hardest to spend quality time together because you guys have two separate lives and you're just kind of learning how to blend into one life. You know, you're practicing that. So I think it's important to spend that time together so you guys understand that I really do like this person and I do want to be around this person more, because once you move in together, now you're together all the time, you know, and it may not seem like you will be because you have work and she has her hobbies and she has work, but you will be around each other a lot. And I think a lot of relationships can end earlier than they're supposed to, because people don't realize, or people will have that feeling of maybe we're spending too much time together, you know, and so they try to get away from each other, and that just creates a division. But you should be able to spend time with a person that, you know, if you can spend quality time with each other, that'll tell you a lot about, okay, I'm meant to be with this person. If you can't really be around a person and there's no communication and you guys are having problems because you're around each other and you can't work through that, then it's probably not somebody that you should be with. There's a period that I feel like you should be able to be. I should be able to go on vacation with her, spend 2 weeks in the same room with her. Nobody has to go to work. Nobody has to leave. We don't have to get individual time, and it feels good. It don't feel like,
Yeah.
man, I hate being on vacation with her. I just want to be. I'd rather be at home while
Or
she's
thinking
on
about,
vacation.
yeah, or thinking about work and stuff. And
Yeah, yeah.
so, I mean, there's obviously, like, you know,
There's a
there's
balance.
there's a there's definitely a balance. There is a balance because, you know, he has, you know, his hobbies, or I have my hobbies, or we have
Yes.
times that we do spend, because everybody, you're still an individual. Don't feel
Yes.
that you're tied to this person and you have to be comfortable with being around them 24/7. There is such thing as being around somebody too much. But if you, like you said, if you're seeing issues because you're around each other,
Yeah.
and even if that is happening, it's about how to work through them, because that's where the relationship part comes in, and that's where the work comes in, and that's where the bond between you guys comes in. It's not about how many problems you guys have. You guys have a problem every single day.
Yep.
What makes you strong and what makes your relationship successful is working through those problems and how you handle those problems, and not in a non-toxic way, not physical, not name calling, not, being in a way that you can work through these problems, but in a way that's not toxic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. I think quality time is one of them things that it tells you if the relationship is actually going to work or not. We spend quality time together, and how we balance getting away from each other. And when we're getting away from each other, you don't want your alone time to be your quality time in your life. Like, I don't want when I leave her, now I got quality. Now this is quality.
And don't think of, like, people think quality time with somebody is like
Spending money.
not even that. They think that it's a long time.
Oh yeah. No.
It's like, listen to it's quality time. So
Yeah.
I don't care if Babe took out 20-30 minutes of his day,
Yeah.
but he was like, baby, just sit down. I just want to talk to you.
Yeah.
How was your day? Like, speak to me. You know what I mean? Or babe, you know what? Like, I got an hour. Let's go grab some ice cream. And
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
quality.
And it's us together doing something, just me and him. But it doesn't have to be like quality time. People think like, well, I don't got time for this. I don't got time for
Yeah.
this. You can make time
Yep.
and make it quality of time. Make sure that it's an intimate, no kids,
Yes.
no friends. If you have to put your phone in your room, put your phone in your room. If it's that bad for you that you can't put it down, and spend quality time with one another, because that is so important.
Yep. I think that's a big one, putting the phones down to spend the quality time. I think everybody struggles with that these days, because everybody has social media. Everybody got 5 apps on their phone that they got to check notifications on all 5 apps to see who's talking to them today, what's going on in the world. And you look up and you've been on your phone for 3 hours in front of your partner, and I think that's a balance. I think, putting your phone down, really taking the time to say, hey, we're not doing anything else. We're focusing on each other. And this is what we're doing in this moment. For the next hour, we're going to look at each other and talk and see what's going on in my partner's day, because that goes back to even affirming a person or acknowledging a person. And it ties into quality time. But, that is important. And that's a great point that you made, baby, about it being called quality time, not quantity time.
Yes.
It's not about how much, it's about what's the quality of the time we spend together, which is always important. Because you may be in a situation, sorry, baby, you may be in a situation where you do have to work for 14 hours a day. But when I get that 2 hours, my undivided attention is on babe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. So
Yeah. What we do to kind of like inquire that quality time, because there are days where we have chaotic days, and we might not have the time to, we're around each other all day, but we didn't have time to like actually spend together. So what we do is we kind of inquire it into our schedule. So after 9 o'clock, me and babe put the phones down. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, no work, whatever it is, and we lock in with just each other. Whether we're watching a movie, we could be eating together, but
starting a show, we like to watch series together.
So we'll watch TV.
You want to watch an episode of this before bed?
Yeah. And so it's like it kind of like not forces us, but it allows us to have that, because it's so easy. It's almost like a habit. Like, I do it all the time. Like, we could be in dead conversation, and I'll just like pick up my phone and do this, and it's not because I'm ignoring him or but it's just like, it's almost like it's a habit. It's like we all do it, and we don't think of it as rude or whatever. But so we put our phones down at a certain time at night, depending on the day, whatever day that we get in bed, and our wind down time. It's like, all right, babe, no phones, and we kind of just lock in with each other, and that so even when we're watching the show, we're both tuned in on the show.
Yeah, that's important.
It's not like, did you see that? Oh man, you should have.
Oh, I was looking at my phone and I missed it.
Yeah.
Now you're ruining the quality time. I do that a lot because I like to play little games on my phone. So I'll be playing a game and baby I'll be like, I'm watching it, and she'll be like,
he's playing Candy Crush.
Yeah, I'm playing Candy Crush or something like that, or Scrabble or something. You feel me?
Like, why?
She'll be like, you're not watching it. See, you missed that. And I'll be like, dang, you know what? I am on my phone too much, and I have to put it to the side, put it on the charger, and let's watch TV together. This is her time, and being humble enough to say, hey, this is her time. This is our time, not just her time, but this is our time together. This is what we got to do together to make sure that our relationship stays healthy and to make sure everybody feels love in this union, right?
Yeah.
So Yeah, I think we covered quality time pretty well.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about receiving gifts. And this is another one that I feel receiving and giving gifts. I feel like this is another one that people are very prideful when it comes to this, right? Because they don't want to look like a certain way to their friends or to whoever's on social
Yeah.
media, right?
I feel like more men have that issue because it's like,
Hmm.
you spending your money on that girl? What? Man, what? She got you buying her this and buying her that and
Yeah.
whatever it is, like what you paying for her nails or this and that. Obviously, there's levels to like what you do, but gifts to me, this is one of my this is like one of my love languages on the higher end, but it's also one I think because it's like something that I love so much that I do it a
Yeah.
lot. And
She means that both ways. She gives and gets. She likes to get gifts and she really likes to give gifts a
I
lot.
love giving gifts.
Yeah.
So anytime and it's almost like a bad habit because if I'm out at Target or at a store, it's like I'm always wondering like what's in here that I can bring home to Bay. Like
Yeah.
I just like to surprise him with stuff. I might buy him shirts. I might buy him a book. I might buy him something as small as like a plant that I think that he would like in his office or
Face
like
wash. She'll buy me face wash. Here's a scrubber. This is gonna make your face so clean and nice.
yeah, I buy him stuff for like self care. So I'll buy him like a face wash system, or I'll buy him like an exfoliant or some whatever, like just stuff that just shows like, here, babe, this
She
is
does
for
that.
you. But because I like stuff like that, and it could be the smallest thing. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. And I do it when I just do it honestly, just spur of the moment. There's no like occasion for it. So I don't like obviously I do give gifts for occasions like holidays and birthdays and stuff, but most of my gifts come from like literally just because.
Yeah. And I think this is important, an important caveat to speak about too. Like when you're gift giving, you got to make sure that this is with your person. Because I see men do this a lot, right? Men go, well, I like her. And we've had a couple conversations on the phone, start gift giving. I made that mistake in the past as a boy, as a young man. And I think men make that mistake a lot. Like, well, I like her and then she likes me. So here's a gift. But some women don't want to receive gifts because they don't want to feel like they're in debt to you or like they owe you something for this gift, because men make it feel that way sometimes. Like, I gave you this and you owe me for that.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially if it's an expensive gift.
Oh, especially then. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see men like, bro, you've been dating her for like a month. Why'd you give her a diamond necklace? Like, of course she's not.
I've seen it all, literally.
Yeah.
I've experienced crazy
Yeah.
gifts literally on the first date.
And a lot of men do that because they're trying to like hurry up and seal the deal with her, and they feel like that'll work. But if it's not coming from a genuine place, like I always look at gift giving as a man from this perspective, right? When I give you this gift, if I can't give it to you and it walk away from me and I never speak to you again, if I give it to you today and you don't speak to me tomorrow, right? It should still feel good that I gave that gift to you. If it doesn't, if you feel like I'm gonna give her this gift and if she doesn't speak to me tomorrow, I'm gonna be pissed, then it's not a genuine gift. Don't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Give a gift that's
point.
genuinely from the heart, that you don't feel like if I lose or if she doesn't speak to me again or if this doesn't work out, that I feel like, man, I should have never did that. I kind of want my gift back. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's important to make sure that if you're going to be a gift giver, that you have an understanding with the person that you're giving the gift and receiving the gift from, that we are really together and it's okay. Nobody else.
We are really
you know,
together.
yeah, we're really together and this is what we're doing. And it's a much more comfortable transaction. Like, here, baby, here's this. I got it. And they know it's genuine. Right, babe?
Yeah. And again, like I said, it doesn't have to be crazy amounts of money. And that goes both for men and women. I know some women are probably like, it depends on the occasion. Don't go to the dollar store for like Valentine's Day. But, but
Thoughtful gifts.
on a regular day, like that's fine. Like I've done it. Like you can go to this is like a hack. Go to the dollar store and you can get like a basket or something and you just put a bunch of cute little things in there.
Yeah.
And it's one big gift. Like,
Yep.
and it probably cost you like $20, but like you put like he said, thoughtful gifts in there. Like, well, I noticed that his hair is dry. I'm gonna grab him this moisturizer.
Or a person, what a person likes. The more you get to know a person, you'll know, like, okay, she enjoys, babe's not a big chocolate person. She likes her white chocolate, the cookies and cream white chocolate, but she's not a big chocolate person. She's more of something else. Like, she'll be happier if I got her probiotics,
Yeah.
than chocolate. Like if I get her some little probiotic shots, she'll be like, oh man, you got me 4 probiotics. That's awesome. Hey, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Right. And so you got to know your person. So it's like maybe something small, but something that's personal to them feels like something big,
Exactly.
It feels like so much of a bigger gift.
So I agree with you. I think there's definitely a fine line. Make sure that person is your person. Or if you do want to give a gift, go for it, but be genuine in the way that you give it.
Yeah.
And just be mindful of that. And for women and men, I just think that it's important to not always expect gifts, because when you expect things, then you put yourself up to like be let down if that doesn't happen. Because I've done that. Valentine's Day is my favorite holiday, and I've been in relationships where I'm like, I'm looking for an extravagant Valentine's Day. I want this, and that. And if it doesn't go that way, then I'm upset, you know? So,
Because you went that, you think is it because you just wanted that, or is it because you felt like you did the most, or is it both, a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both. It's because I feel like, for one, I always make it known to whoever that I was with that, this is my favorite holiday, so they know. But I would always go all out. And that's because like I said, I'm into gifts and I'm into giving gifts. So I would always go all out, like, and not just for Valentine's Day, but just like, I just love giving gifts. If it's, Father's Day, if it's, any holiday, I like to have something quirky to give to somebody. I do it with the kids too. Like, I make goodie bags and stuff, whatever I got to do. But yeah.
I think I think a hack for a relationship, you're gonna be in a relationship. If you're a gift giver, be in a relationship with somebody else that's a gift giver, because it feels really good.
It does.
I'm a gift giver, she's a gift giver, and we'll both surprise each other on random days with random things. Like, here you go, baby. Here's this. I bought you this. I may buy her a card and flowers randomly. She'll do the same. She'll buy me a card and a nice little something randomly, and it's like that's the best feeling in the world, when you have somebody that's kind of similar to you in that way, where it's like, okay, there's no way to feel like I'm not getting enough or not giving enough, because you have somebody that's similar to you in that way. So,
and it's not hard to either, if you're interested in somebody, you're gonna know about them.
yeah, and if somebody's not interested in you, then you're gonna know.
Yeah, but you should know enough about the person that you're interested in or that you're pursuing. So, for example, or for this is a real life experience. For those of you that don't know, like, we had our first date in Mexico.
Yeah.
And it was maybe a week before his birthday, and this was our first time like getting together, and and I did not know him obviously personally, because this is our first date, but I did know it was his birthday.
No, we knew each other, we knew each other for a few months, but it wasn't like we hadn't been around each other enough to know each other, like what you like and the things you like to eat, and we were talking before that, and it was like, let's go out, let's really go out, and that's why it was like, let's go to Mexico. You want to go to Mexico?
Yeah. So I'm like, it's his.
Because I don't want people to have the expectation that,
oh no,
yo, my first date got to be in Mexico because look what he did to her.
No,
we were dating for 4 months.
Maybe I worded that wrongly or poorly, but no. Okay, so we were obviously
dating.
We
4 months,
for months on end. But when we did decide to like get together, it was spur of the moment. It was extremely random.
Yeah.
It just happened that his passport had came in at a certain time. We were like, you know what, let's go. Let's leave the country. So we went to Mexico, and I say all this to say that it was his birthday month, and that's another reason why he wanted to go. So he was like, and I'm tagging along. So me, in my mind, I'm like, all I know is that it is his birthday month, and I'm like honored enough that he wants to bring me along to go on his birthday trip with him. So how, I just couldn't see myself not bringing something to the table. I'm that person. Like, I don't go to, I don't go to somebody's house for dinner without bringing, a fruit platter or, something. I never come in empty-handed. So I was like, I'm not coming in empty-handed. So I definitely went out. I know that he loves Calvin Klein. I know that, you know what I mean? I knew little things about him because of our discussions and our talks. And so I think I went out. I got him,
She got me 3 shirts. And
he knows.
She got me 3 shirts. She pulled up to the airport. I think we met up. No, we met up the day before, and then we went to the airport the next morning. And she was like, "Before we leave, I have these gifts for you."
Yeah.
And she popped the trunk, and she had 3 Calvin Klein shirts for me, and she had a cologne set.
Yeah,
it was like 4 or 5 colognes in it that I could choose the different fragrances. And that was the first time a woman had ever given me a gift for my birthday.
Yeah, that was what I was saying that to say, is when he was speaking on it feels good to have because he's definitely a gift giver. So when I feel like he met me, he was just always so astonished by me getting him gifts.
Yeah.
And I was like, to me, it was like, it just came so naturally. Like, this is just what I do. Like, because again, if he never talked to me after that, I'm like, well, it was his birthday. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I gave the man a birthday gift. Like, in my mind, I did it genuinely. So,
I never experienced that. So I didn't know. I didn't understand now. I'm like, women do this? So it was awesome. So yeah, being in a relationship with somebody that gives you gifts and you give them gifts and it's reciprocal like that, it feels good, you know?
Yeah. So don't be afraid to give. And
Yep.
if you're unsure, test the waters with the dollar store.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Test the waters a little bit first.
Test the
You know,
waters.
see what the reaction is.
Don't go all in and get her that Chanel bag, and
Oh
you don't
yeah.
go all in and get him that watch. This,
Yeah.
a couple bands. Don't do that. Make sure you know who you're in this relationship with, and make sure that you guys are obviously in a long term before you get long term gifts, because nothing is
Or
worse
just
than
committed.
committed relationship. But nothing is worse than an Indian giver. So if you give
Oh
somebody
yeah,
something,
bro.
if you give that man that watch and it costs whatever,
Mm-hmm.
10 bands, 5 bands, whatever, I don't care how much you spent on it. I don't care if it was $20. If you give it to that man and he leaves you tomorrow, don't be asking for that watch back. For one, it's like, let God handle that. Don't even, you know what I mean? If he did something in the wrong in which you guys had to part ways, but like, don't be an Indian giver. That is the
Yeah.
worst.
Yeah.
So I think that's important.
Or even in arguments or in disputes, you know, like, well, give me that back now because I bought that for you yesterday and you pissed me off today. So give it to me. You can't do that. You know, you
Yeah,
can't do that.
that goes with just giving gifts genuinely. Do not ask for it back. Like, I just think that that's corny. If they give it back, then that's on them,
Yeah.
But that don't ask for it back. That's weird.
Yeah. So the love languages, the 5 love languages that we covered were physical touch, affirmations. Words of affirmations, acts of service, quality time, and gift giving, receiving gifts. Right.
Yep.
These things are very important in a relationship. In our opinion, I think these are all things that you have to practice. You have to practice all 5 of them, but they vary in importance. So you got to make sure that you know what your partner needs in that moment. And I think that you need to practice all of them and understand all of them. And babe, you would agree?
I agree. I think you hit the nail on the head. So yeah.
So that's our topics for today. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you guys support the channel. Make sure you guys support the content. And make sure you leave us questions and email us questions, DM us questions, send us questions, leave questions in the comments if you have something that you want us to talk about, topics or anything like that. And do you have anything else you want to close with, baby?
Share this with a friend. If you know anybody who's struggling with the love languages and needs relationship advice, share our videos. And we look forward to seeing you guys next time.
See you guys next time.